it's been a bit of a journey, isn't it, Dan King, author of Just Retribution?
Yes, yes. Now, I mean, you actually published, Dramamask actually published the book 11 years after I finished writing it.
Right.
And I had just lost all hope. I'd done all the usual rounds of unreceptive publishing houses and publishing agents and so on, like everybody does. And all to no avail. I know that not one of them attempted to read any of it.
So, so I think we pretty much...
And I will say this, having read it once again, I've read it many times, obviously. Yeah. I'm quite proud of it, I must say, and I'm not shy.
That's good thing, yeah, that's good.
But I must say, it still holds up. There's still a lot of unfinished business.
Right, yeah.
Which I said, forecast in that. There's still a lot of unfinished business.
Yeah, because there's a political element with the Irish problem and the English problem and whatever, which still stands.
All that agreement that had just been reached with that arms beyond reach. We're making this sound like an Irish IRA story. Well, it's not what we both know. It's not really. It's just, that's just like the background to it. Yeah. It's character driven. Not events driven, really, character driven, and that just happened to be, because, and when I say happened to be, I mean that, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. You know, it's totally unplanned, totally unscripted. I mean, I was getting up in the morning, looking forward to what was going to happen next. I didn't know, so it just all rolled out.
So I mean, I read the book myself, and like you say, it's a work of fiction. It's pretty much like a crime thriller.
Yes.
Yeah, and also like a work of fiction, but influenced by politics at the time.
Yes, and there are a lot of people in there who I knew, and I put them together, and they didn't know each other in real life. Right. And I've just written about them as I imagined they would have interacted with each other if they had known each other.
So there's like an element of like real life and creativity.
Sort of biographical, sort of.
Right. Yes. Indeed.
Sort of.
Yeah. So that's quite an interesting mix, really. So you get like this, they say like a biographical content mixed in with current events, political bits and pieces. Yeah. And a sort of almost like a sort of psychological experiment with the people that you know. So you meet, you bring them together, and how you think they would react to each other.
Yes, and I also think that it's sort of ways of life, temperaments and things I've managed to touch on as well.
Right. All
of this being unintentional, I must admit. Yeah. That's how it was. How nasty people actually can be coerced into doing quite nice things, but at the same time, how really nice people are prepared to do something nasty to actually achieve a good end.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of grey area in there. It's not black and white. It's not goodies versus baddies. There's a lot of grey area.
I mean, there are people would read that and probably think that they're all nasty. All the characters are nasty, and some people might read that and think, well, actually they're all quite. I'd like to meet all of those people. I can have a beer with all of those people.
Right.
Well, you just never know, do you? Yeah. How people are going to react.
Yeah, like, so like when I read it, I mean, obviously, most of us think we're all good and decent people, and most of us are good and decent people.
You like to think so.
Yeah, and also when I read it, you know, you can identify with every single character. You know, like I say, there's good in so-called bad people, like using good and bad as a crude analogy, but so like even like the worst person in the book, the worst character, the baddest character in the book, he's still got a tinge.
He's got some good in him. I mean, it's worth reading. I mean, this was the back of the book, the cover that you designed, and the sort of the spiel, if you like. The story of unrequited youthful love, which develops into a scheme for revenge. A compelling tale in which the line between good and evil is blurred when they become temporary allies good and evil were capital letter, by the way. Good and evil is blurred when they become temporary allies, each showing a capacity for brutality in their quest for vengeance in a common cause. And that sort of very, sums up what we just said.
Well, I think that's, personally speaking, like reading that in fairy tales, there's a clear definition between good and evil.
Yes.
In real life, there isn't.
Given the right circumstances, nice people could do nasty things.
Indeed, yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and you execute that. Absolutely.
I think it does. The story tells that, treads that line.
Yeah. So that's very powerful.
The way, actually writing a book was not difficult at all, which I thought, I imagined, only ever having written essays and letters to the editor and that kind of stuff before, I imagined that writing a book would be very difficult. Well, I didn't find it difficult writing that book, but what I found difficult about writing a book was getting the thing published. That took, well, there you are, it took 10, 11 years. It took 11 years to get it published. That's the hard work. And so, anybody that wants to write a book, wants to be a published author, be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And okay, you'll get your book published eventually, but don't count on it being just magically taken up, because life's not like that.
Yeah, I guess there's quite a few factors involved why that is.
And this what I admire authors now. I always thought that if somebody asked, what do you do for a living, what do you do, and the reply was, oh, I'm an author, I always thought it was a bit pretentious. I always had thought that it was a bit pretentious. But now I don't. Yeah. I think you're entitled to feel proud of yourself if you're an author.
Yeah, I agree.
I forget which now. Author, I think it might have been Somerset Maugham. I'm terrible at names. I think it was Somerset Maugham, where he said that no matter what, get it down on paper.
Yeah.
Think about without fear or favour.
Yeah.
Don't think about financial reward. Don't think about pleasing your friends or your family. Just please yourself. Get it out of your head. Get it written down, and then comes the editing. Don't worry about what you're writing and be embarrassed about it. Oh, I can't say that. Say it.
Yeah.
Get it out. Say it, and then decide whether later, when someone else reads it, whether they can take what you even think to be outrageous. It's relative. It's relative.
Yeah, indeed.
So leave it in there. So then it becomes not outrageous, it becomes part of the story.
Yeah, because I think you have to do what you believe in. That's probably a cliched word, but there's some people, you can't please everybody, but you need to be but you have to be authentic in yourself.
Yes.
There's always going to be people that hate your stuff, and there's always going to be people that love your stuff.
Yes.
And there's going to be all the shades in between.
Right.
So why sacrifice yourself to...
And you, of course, know that very well. You yourself being an artist, you can't be thinking when you're setting up your easel and setting up your paints.